Jake Paul, Tommy Fury, 26th of February, Saudi Arabia. It's all going down, ladies and gentlemen. The fight that all the crossover boxing fans have been asking for is finally happening. Will Jake Paul finally be able to beat a real boxer? Is Tommy Fury even that good? All of these questions are going to be answered on the 26th of February. And from what I've been seeing, people seem to be thinking that Tommy Fury is going to win. You know, he is a Fury, so he's got that fighting blood within him. And we've seen from his boxing, he's got those Fury feints, you know. He's a rangy fighter, he's got strength. But then again, on the other side, you can never doubt the problem child, Jake Paul. He's been doubted time and time again. People said that he wouldn't be able to get past Nate Robinson when he first got announced. To be fair, people were backing him against Ben Askren, but then Tyron Woodley, he's too powerful. He's too explosive, and Jake Paul performed a knockout of the year. Anderson Silva, he's an MMA GOAT. He's actually a decent striker. Jake Paul won't be able to get past him. Outboxed him for 8 rounds and got the victory. I think this fight is going to answer a lot of questions, and I think it's going to be a very interesting and entertaining fight. So now let's do a little breakdown. Now, like I said, from opinions online, from experts, the common fans, other fighters, many people are saying that Tommy Fury is going to win. Even the bookmakers, from what I've seen, Tommy Fury is the favourite. However, I think there are two main things that people are overlooking when looking at this fight. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is people, including Tommy, and that's the most important, are underestimating the boxing ability of Jake Paul. Now, on the face of it, you could say Jake Paul's never fought a real professional boxer. However, I think without a shadow of a doubt, Jake Paul's boxing opponents have been way better than the opponents of Tommy Fury. Tyron Woodley was an explosive, 5-time UFC champion. He packed the punch power to knock out Jake Paul, and I think that he alone is a more serious threat than any of Tommy Fury's opponents have ever been. I mean, he's fighting taxi drivers, people with 100 losses, and we haven't even mentioned Anderson Silva, arguably the greatest striker of all time. You know, Anderson Silva, he had immense boxing ability. He'd beaten such credible opponents, Julio Cesar Chavez. You know, Anderson Silva was no joke, and Jake Paul just dominated him. You know, in the background you see some clips of just Jake Paul doing some amazing combos, just outstriking Anderson Silva, just showing boxing IQ that we can arguably say that we've never seen from Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury, on the face of it, he's got the flashy flicks, you know, the feints, you know, the speed. However, we've never seen it in a fight where he's actually had to dig deep against an opponent who wants it. And there's one thing that nobody can doubt, is that Jake Paul wants this just as much, arguably if not a lot more, than Tommy Fury. None of Tommy Fury's opponents have gone in there believing that they're actually going to win. They've been in there to build up Tommy's experience, you know, they'll be in their instructions when the promoters come to them. You know, we want Tommy to, you know, build up his experience, just go in there, you know, take some shots, throw a little bit back, and, you know, move. Jake Paul's opponents, Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley, they've all gone in there to try and beat Jake Paul. You know, they've had so much more skill, as I mentioned. And I think that although on the pads and in training, Tommy Fury may seem better than Jake Paul, it's completely different when you're in the fight. And that's another thing that we need to talk about, is the fact that Jake Paul has been there, seen it, done it, in the terms of he's been at a headline of a show. He's been in a sold out arena, all the pressure's against him. I mean, we all know how much people hate on Jake Paul, and he's performed. Tommy Fury, he's never seen pressure like that. On the 26th of February in Saudi Arabia, he's going to have all these people looking for him to win, looking for him to be the one to knock out Jake Paul. You know, the first time in the main event, the first time we'll be fighting in front of a sold-out show. And is that pressure going to get to him? I think it could very well get to him. As we've seen, he's pulled out of the fight twice. Now, you may say, you know, that's actually for credible reasons, but you never know. You know, the pressure was building in the other fights, and he did pull out, so you could argue that the pressure is something that Tommy Fury will be subject to. That's something that I think we can be sure of. So I definitely do not think that Tommy Fury is going to pull out for a third time. I think even if he's got a bit of a niggle, I think he's going to take this fight, because he cannot go through the embarrassment of being pulled out of a fight against Jake Paul for a third time. Now we need to get on to the second reason about why I believe Jake Paul will beat Tommy Fury. And that reason is the mind games. Jake Paul is living rent-free inside of Tommy Fury's head. Let's be honest. I mean, look at that face-off. We're going to react to it in a second. Tommy Fury was just rattled. Where was Tommy Fury's shirt? My God, that was my question. In the BT press conference that they had in the ring, why was his shirt off? You know, we saw him getting all angry, trying to go for Jake Paul. Jake Paul was calm, composed, laughing, filming his shoes, and it just shows how Jake Paul has been there. You know, he's been in these environments where he's in a big fight. Tommy Fury has never, and it's taken an effect. So now let's get into that clip and let's react to this little telltale details that show that Tommy Fury is starting to crumble under the pressure of this big fight. Okay, so we're reacting to the face-off that they did last Saturday. Now look at this.
In the making. Jake, I'm going to come to you first.
Look at that. As we saw, as we just rewind it, Tommy swings for Jake instantly. You know, Jake Paul, he was laughing before as he was walking up. Tommy Fury just stiff, annoyed, swings for Jake. Look at this right arm. You know, goes to punch him. And now look at him, he's just trying to go for him. Look how annoyed he is. Jake, this is just perfect for Jake. Tommy is so riled up. You know, Jake's just loving it. You know, just giving it all that. And that's the thing that I think is going to come to Tommy's detriment. I think that the pressure's going to get to him. I think he's going to be so angry. I can see him just going in there, swinging for the rafters, trying to clip Jake, knock him out. And then he just gets cut. Jake comes in there composed, times him, and sends Tommy to the floor. You know, we watch a bit more of it, and it just, you know, you can just see the difference in the energy. Where is this shit? Where's my man's shirt?
26th of February, this shit's been going on too long. He will never box again. I'm not 50,
look at this. Tommy's getting annoyed, pointing his fingers. You know, look how serious he's being. And then Jake just recorded his shoes. If you guys not seen that video, Jake Paul just recording Tommy Fury's shoes there, taking the mick out of them. But listen to how Jake speaks. You know, we're about to see here, we're going to see Jake speak with conviction. You know, it sounds like Tommy's just saying, you know, the whole thing, you know, oh, it's been going on for too long, he's going to get beaten. Jake speaks with conviction. He says what he's going to do, he says how he's going to do it, and he says why it's going to happen. Listen.
Listen, you said, you called this man an imposter. You said that he's leaning on this Fury name. Why is that? Because you know, you don't believe in the opponents he's fought. Do you think that you're going to be too much of a test come to 26 and Dirham?
He's fought taxi drivers. He has no chin. It's all a joke. I'm ending you February 26th, and you already know it.
To me, you may not agree, but to me, he's speaking with more conviction. You know, when Jake speaks and what he says, I believe it.
It's all fake confidence. You can't even knock out a taxi driver. You can't even knock out a taxi driver.
All right. Let's keep.
You know, see, Jake's done his research. You know, Tommy's fought a taxi driver before. You know, he's not been fighting very good people, and you know, he's done his research. I feel like Jake Paul is just going to be a lot more composed, and I think his game plan is going to be a lot better than Tommy's.
I was beating better people than you when I was 14 in the amateurs.
See, look how annoyed that he's getting, and just look at Jake, just listening.
I was 14, while you were messing about on Disney Channel. So don't come here pretending you're about it when you're not.
When we saw Tommy speaking, Jake was just stood there listening. He wasn't getting annoyed. Look at this, Jake speaking. Tommy's pointing his finger, trying to speak.
All of these people say, fight a real boxer, here we go.
I guarantee, I swear to
See,
God, the last thing I do in boxing,
Jake just listens to him.
You are over in 4 weeks. So enjoy the last few weeks as a so-called boxer, yeah? When I hit you in the chin, you're going to stay hit. Who?
See, you may not agree, but to me, I just think Jake Paul is so much more composed. You know, Tommy Fury's just all riled up, and he's so angry. He just wants to get in Jake Paul's face. You know, he swung for him. He just wants to get at Jake Paul, and that is going to be detrimental to him in the fight. I'm sorry. I just think that along with the mental fortitude of Jake Paul, along with the underestimation of his actual boxer skills, these are going to play into Jake Paul's hands, and why I think we can have a shot on the cards, and why I think Jake Paul can beat Tommy Fury. So yeah. They are my thoughts on it. They are my thoughts on the interactions that we've had from Jake and Tommy so far. Plus, you know, the other factors such as the boxing ability of Jake Paul and the mental fortitude. And I think all these things are going to play together in Jake's hands, and I think that Jake Paul is going to shock Tommy Fury. You know, I think time and time again, people have consistently been counting out Jake Paul, underestimating his ability, and I think it's time that people actually start to respect Jake Paul. And I think that if he wins this fight, I think that he will earn that respect. I think people see Tommy Fury as better than Jake Paul now, and I think as we can see by the odds and what people are saying on social media, people think that Jake Paul is nowhere near on the level as Tommy Fury. So if he wins that fight, then he's going to earn that respect, and people may start taking him more credibly. You know, he says that he's in this boxing game for the long run, and says that he wants to be a world champion. And if Jake Paul starts beating other professional boxers like Tommy Fury and starts increasing the levels as he does, who's to say that he can't reach high levels in boxing? I mean, you never know. I mean, to be fair, there is a big difference from, you know, getting to the level of being a world champion and fighting, Tommy Fury. Bit of a disparity there in the levels of skill. But I think that Jake Paul can go quite far in boxing. I think that he is a decent little boxer. I don't think he could, honestly, if I'm being honest, at least unless he trains as he is training now for the next 10 years. I don't think there's a realistic target for him to be a world champion. But I think that he can definitely, clean up this influencer game and fight more strikers and maybe fight some washed up boxers. But yeah, that's all from me, guys. If you agree, let me know in the comments. Or if you disagree as well, let me know if you think Tommy's going to win and why you think he's going to win. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please feel free to like and subscribe. It does help out a lot. But yeah, that's all from